I think I knew that I wanted to be a father even before I was sure I wanted to be a husband. I don't know why or what it is, but I always wanted a chance to be a dad, to raise a child. I was older when I got married, older than most, and then even older by the time my wife got pregnant. And I was so excited to be a dad. I couldn't imagine what it would be. People kept telling me that there would be something in my heart that would open up, that I'd have a new chamber that seemed to open, that expanded my understanding of even the very nature of love itself. I was interested to see how or why that would work. The day before my son was to be induced, my wife was not feeling well, and so we took her up to the hospital, and they began to run a series of tests. About 3 o'clock in the morning, they came in and they flipped on all the lights and said that the surgeon was on her way. It turns out she got pulled over for speeding on her way to the hospital. She understood the nature of the emergency that we were faced with. My wife's health was in danger. The baby was okay, but her health was not good. And so as soon as the surgeon arrived, they came in and they whisked my wife out and performed an emergency C-section. It was just a few minutes that felt like an eternity later when the nurse came in and placed my child in my hands. And I was weeping as the nurse told me to open up the blankets and tell everyone if it was a boy or a girl, because we had chosen not to find out until that moment. And so I opened up the blankets and saw that I had had a son. There are these moments in your life that you experience where the only way to put it is the way that the hymn "O Holy Night" does, where your soul feels its worth. These moments that you come into where you understand in a deep way that is beyond words' ability to express what the value of life really is. And that was one of those moments for me. You know, Mary, the mother of Jesus, was able to put it a lot more eloquently than I've been able to. Following the birth of, announcement of the birth of her child, Mary said this. She said, "My soul glorifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. For he has been mindful of the humble state of his servant. From now on, all generations will call me blessed, for the Mighty One has done great things for me. Holy is his name." Mary experienced that moment, didn't she? Where the soul felt its worth. And the soul felt its worth not because she had done something great or she had accomplished something, but that God had done something great for her. She recognized that she was simply a humble young woman, that she wasn't from a particularly noteworthy household. She hadn't achieved anything worthy of fame or greatness, and yet in her humble state, God chose to bless her, to be mindful of her, she says, to be mindful of her in her humble state. And in that moment, her soul felt its worth. She glorified God. You know, after the birth of my son that I had longed for, my son that I had dreamed of, my son that I had always hoped to be able to raise and to bless and to love and to usher through this life, after his birth, it occurred to me. I don't know why it never did before, but there's something about becoming a parent that does indeed change your perspective, that I realized that I'm the child that my heavenly parent longs to hold. I'm the one that he prayed for and dreamed about, that he imagined. I'm the child that God has longed to hold in his arms. It's there that the soul begins to feel its eternal worth. To even imagine that to a degree greater than I could ever comprehend, the same love that I have for my child, God has for me, and he has for you. You're the child he longs to hold as well. He sees you in your humble estate. He knows the sins you've committed. He knows the mistakes you've made. He knows the hurt, the harm that you've caused yourself to others. That doesn't matter to him. Not really, not in a way that would change the way he feels about you, the way that he loves you, because you're the one he's prayed about. You're the one he has longed for, imagined what it might be like to be able to scoop you up and wrap you in his arms and to hold you. Through all the violence of this world, the darkness in which we walk, God is mindful of you in the same way that he was mindful of Mary. Isn't that such an extraordinary concept? That the one who made the stars in the sky, the one whose creativity is on display in the platypus, the one who could imagine a canyon as deep as the Grand One, of all that, he's mindful of you. Not the highest of the mountain peaks, the glimmering sand of an endless desert. You. You are his masterpiece. You are by far his most beautiful piece of all creation, and he is mindful of you. God is mindful of you. He knows your circumstances. He knows where you sit even now in this moment. He knows what you were watching right before you stumbled onto this. He knows what you were doing 10 minutes ago. He's mindful of you. He knows your circumstances. He knows the pain that you're under, the duress that you're feeling. He knows your anxiety. He knows your joy. He knows your celebrations. He knows the life and the love that surround you. God is mindful of you. He's mindful of your hardship. He's mindful of your suffering. He's mindful of what brings you joy and hope. He is mindful of you. And what's more, he longs to lift you up into his arms. Mary tells us that God exalts the humble. He lifts up the humble, those who don't glory in themselves but find their soul's worth in the arms of another. You know, it's a strange thing in life, one that I've experienced for myself. But on my best days, I feel good. On the days of my greatest achievements, where I have accomplished something special, I feel good. I feel great. I feel great about myself. On the days when I survey what I've been able to create, accomplish, do in this life, I feel pretty good. But it is on my worst days. It is when my world has fallen apart, when I think I've lost everything, when it's unclear whether or not I can go on. It is on my worst day, when everything is wrong, that I feel my soul's worth. And the reason is, it is in those moments that I feel God most clearly holding me, his child, brought into and through a world of violence and pain, And I feel him simply holding me and loving me in the moment. The soul feels its worth most clearly, not in the crowning moments of achievement, but in the love that comes when you least deserve it, when you've done nothing to earn it. It is then that we know our value to God. When he has no reason to love us, and love us he does. What a holy night that Christ was born. In the midst of a weary world, rejoicing came when we were held by a love that is greater than we can imagine, that we have never earned and would never deserve. And it's in that moment that our soul feels its worth. I pray for you today, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you've done, wherever you've been, that you would feel and experience that love for yourself. That you would feel the strength of a parent's arms wrapping around you, knowing, trusting that everything will be okay. I pray that the love of God will find you and your soul will feel its worth. Your soul that's been endowed with worth not by what you can accomplish, but by what God has given to you. And to him, there is nothing he longs for more, nothing he dreams about more, nothing he prays for more than you, and wrapping you up in his heavenly arms.
Oh, you've come to bring peace, to be love, to be nearer to us. And you've come to bring light, to be light. joy.